Hi, Marco here, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. So we're coming up from when Ryunosuke pointed out that burn mark on the victim's hand, and yeah, the picture shows that the handbag is actually see-through. So um, the detective or the undercover police, the undercover police, um, gave a statement that he does not, or he at that point he has no need to inspect the bag for the gun or to see if there's a gun hidden in the lady's bag because it is see-through. And as Miss Brett pointed out, along the chaos, she brought the glass that we pointed out as a contradiction earlier. But yeah, so we're now grasping for another point of interest so that we can continue the trial, because as of now the judge is ready to give its statement, or to give its verdict. So let's go back. It's time to find some evidence that proves that burn really means. So then the defense will now present its evidence to the court. The evidence that demonstrates an inextricable connection between the victim's burn and this trial. So, uh, um, let's review the history again, because I forgot the conversation before. Okay. Curious shape of this mark. So there's something about its shape, but I think we inspected the evidence before, but I haven't found any link. Okay. I'm still trying to find some visual cue to link this to this burn mark to the case, because as of now I can't really point out anything. I mean, this symbol of the police is not really shaped like a bull's head. Okay. um yeah, that's not really a bull, that's a lady. Yeah, so as you can see, it's shaped like a bull's head. So I don't know. Is this a similar shape? Bull's head. Bull's head. Ugh. I'm grasping, but I don't see anything that links this burn mark. Hmm. Oh! I saw it! I see it! I see it! So as you can see here in the sizzling plate, there's a bull mark on it. Oh my god, I missed it. Yeah, because in this picture it is not seen, so that I didn't pay to it much attention to it, but now we have a clear image of that bull's head here, so we can really present this actually.
Yes!
What's this, Council? Yet another print? Yes, Your Excellency. I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at the scene, we miss things. Well, yeah, in fact, I miss it until now. I didn't really pay attention to it. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore. Do hurry up, Rookie. They're trying to say. To inconvenience this poor lady any further really would be quite inexcusable. Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer, if you don't mind, Miss Brett. Hmm. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim came to have an unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore. What? How?
Objection!
You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it pays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. What is in this photograph that explains the reason for the victim's burn? Okay, so let's point this one out. Press
Yes!
X. The beefsteak? Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on. The plate. Ah! Ah! Your Excellency, are you alright? As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark at La Carnival. Ooh, zoom in. This emblem on the plate. And the victim's burn. This one are exactly the same shape. Ah, Inosuke, you're genius. You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant. Okay,
Objection!
what does that imply? But but even if that is the case, we can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. It could have been the day before, or the day before that. It most likely happened at some other unrelated time. Well,
Objection!
uh-oh. Save us, Kazuma. Sadly, Prosecutor Ouchi, the chances of that are extremely slim. Thanks. Why? The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosonaga? I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly. But, but, okay. I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. Zoom in. This was no mild burn, that's for sure. Can you be more specific, Inspector? Well, let's see. If the plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds. Wow, some science. And yeah, it's inconceivable that the victim would have let out a scream of pain then. I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I have not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of La Carnival, I can testify to that without hesitation. I guess Inspector Hosonaga is really staying to his virtues, right? Saying the truth even though is somewhat forced to um, re readjust the crime scene. But you, but you, you're a detective, not a waiter.
Yes!
Yes, there you have it. Something isn't right here. As a detective said, anyone who burned themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that. And yet Inspector Hosonaga never heard the professor scream. Not on that day, or any before it. That's right. And the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either. What are you suggesting? Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day, that would be beyond careless, I think, Counsel. Then the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, and the old antiques dealer, all of us would, without any question, have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Professor Ouchie? Prosecutor Ouchie, my bad. Well, yes, I suppose. So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? I almost didn't. I almost don't believe it. Yunosuke, do you think? Oh, this is the moment. Can it really be true? I never dreamt we'd arrive at a conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap. There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson was already deceased. Yeah, I think hindi siya natulog. Yeah, I think he didn't sleep. The only reason is Dr. Wilson is already dead and the body was moved. No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible. Apart from in one particular situation. Counsel, are you suggesting? Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead. Nice catch. Already? Dead? Inspector Hosonaga is surprised as well. I mean, it's not surprising at all. Even if you're asleep, you can really wake up from that piping hot plate or burn. Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. Nice slam, Rinosuke. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead. Holy crap! Oh god. But Inspector Hosonaga didn't seem to notice Dr. Wilson is already dead. But that is only the explanation, right? Since Rinosuke came to his Dr. Wilson's table and talked to him and chatted him actually, then the crime happened after that. And so after that moment and before the body was discovered, or Rinosuke picked up the gun, right? So the time frame of that murder took place in that time period. So at least we're now narrowing down the suspects. Yeah, that's madness. I mean, that's the only explanation. Rinosuke is right. Order, please. Counsel, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot. That's right. That's absolutely right, Your Excellency. This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student. But clearly he has no grasp of the facts.
Objection!
No, Prosecutor Ouchie. It's you who has no grasp of the facts. I beg your pardon? As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while at the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Ugh. Ugh. Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it's highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it. I mean, yeah, that's correct because Miss Brett dined with Dr. Wilson, and if this conjecture or hypothesis is indeed correct, then Miss Brett must be aware that Dr. Wilson is dead. I mean, how can you even toast with a dead person? So it's clearly suspicious as of the moment. Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. Imagine, that's from a single burn mark. We turned the things upside down, and I personally didn't expect that we would go to this reasoning, right? I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement. But Your Excellency, the justice system in our country may be its in infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I am prepared to pass judgment. Thank you, Your Excellency. Uh-oh, Miss Brett. Oh no, she smiled. Sorry, I took a picture. Was that smile? Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Oh wow, she now speaks Japanese or their language actually. Especially if it helps the relations between my country and yours. Ah, Miss Brett, you speak Japanese? I mean, we assumed, right, that she doesn't speak Japanese, so that's our bad. Well, of course I do. I'm studying in your country after all. But then, why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now? I mean, yeah, right, why? My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible. Ooh, what a burn. You're in that land, Miss Brett. Be careful. But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. So I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all on your own level. Oh, well, you are the epitome of a true Englishwoman gentlewoman. I mean, she has shown her true colors, right? We are truly honored by this lavish consideration you so graciously afford us. I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson. So, we're finally going to hear her own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting, Renosuke. Witness's testimony. Victim's death. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burned his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glass in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible causes of death, besides the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. I mean, yeah, um, our police is not yet that um, let's just say advanced compared to the British police or the other countries' police system. That most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in the Supreme Court's history. Thank you. Easy does it. I hope that is the last time I will have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue. Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone. Not at all, not at all. It is a delight merely to hear you speak, dear lady. And it seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant. I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here today. The Minister of Justice? May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen. Wow. Huh? Thanks? Was that a prayer then? I mean, she prayed for my, punishment. Well, you have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with the cross-examination now. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much. Ah, I'm sure I don't need to remind you, counsel, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness's testimony, I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear? I mean, we're ready, to be fair. Woo! That would have hurt. Yes, Your Excellency. Then you may proceed with cross-examination. The victim's death. So let's see some contradiction, right? But right now, as I review it, there is no really clear indication of any discrepancy or contradiction. So let's try pressing these statements first. Let's press this first statement. But his hand was on the searing hot plate for at least 3 whole seconds. You can't not have noticed. You think so? Let me ask you something. Sorry. Ever since I arrived at this courtroom, and even still now, the fly on those unsightly black trousers of yours has been wide open. You cannot have noticed, can you? Oh god, really? Huh? What? Ah! Haha, what fun. You hadn't realized. What a rookie mistake, Rinosuke. Please don't leave your fly hanged. The dear lady is absolutely right. As your friend, you've embarrassed me as well yourself, Rinosuke. Oh god. Why? Why didn't you tell me? Dr. Wilson was a true English gentleman. He chose tolerable silence over a vulgar scream. Can your tiny brains imagine such a thing? Oh yes, I think my tiny brain can.
Yes.
Oh, what a deprecating statement. Well, I can. Anyway, when the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in toast.
Yes.
So let's press this because we know that, or we suspect that Dr. Wilson is already dead, meaning they can't really toast. As you testified before, you were drinking carbonated water, is that right? Dr. Wilson was only permitted to drink water at that time, if you remember. Which explains why he ordered that drink. Correct, waiter? Exactly as you say, sir. Although, whether or not the professor actually drank any of the water when I delivered the steak to the table, I'm afraid I don't remember that. Okay. Damn you. Ah, I have enough English to understand that at least. For the benefit of the others in the court, it means bless you. Not really, ouchie. I think it means the exact opposite. Anyway, as far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible causes of death besides the gunshot. So let's press this. Definitely we can come up with something here. Yes, it's written here in the paperwork. Fatal hemorrhage from ballistic trauma. Yes. Luckily for all of us, a little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us. And as there were no other signs of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death, it can only have been the bullet from your gun that put an end to this innocent man's life. But it doesn't make sense. The burn must have happened straight away when the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter. Yes, that's true. If it had cooled even slightly, it wouldn't have been able to make a burn like that. And if the victim burnt his wrist on the hot plate as soon as it was brought out from the kitchen, then he must already have been dead at that point.
Attention!
And yeah, the fact is the victim was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Until you're able to show the court evidence to disprove that, this is a complete waste of time. Okay? I concur. Prosecutor Ouchie is right. Ugh. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me.
Yes!
Without leaving a trace. If someone is shot or strangled or stabbed or thrown from a height, however a person's life is taken, there are always telltale traces on the body. Quite right, dear lady. And as our police force has thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt. Isn't that right, Inspector Hosonaga? As I've said, I always aim for a flawless investigation. There would be a physical trace with all those causes of death, right? That's true. But maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't leave a mark. If heaven forbid, you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it? Oh no. Perish the thought. Calling such a sweet young lady's innocence into question. On my honor, I, Takatsuchi Ouchi, will cut down any who dare cast such aspersions. A way of killing someone that leaves no trace. We need some evidence to back us up here. Yes, evidence. So, yeah, again, let's review the people's what do you call this, profile later. But yeah, I have a suspicion on how Miss Brett killed the person or killed Dr. Wilson. But let's
Yes!
press the last statement. Inferior? What do you mean by that? In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at the crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right. La Carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident. Ouchie, you're not really giving credit to our police system, right?
Wait.
Exactly. Which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. And sorry, I missed Masanaga coughing and indicating something that it seems not right with this statement. It doesn't even occur to your naive detectives to try to preserve the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can, you understand. A killer blow. The lady is as formidable as she is beautiful. Amazing. He's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Ouchie is finally starting to see sense. I very much doubt that. Still, there's something about what Miss Brett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't seem quite right. Yeah, and brief Prosecutor Inspector Hosonaga pointed it out. What do you think, Renosuke? I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her, I'm not turning up any new information. Yes, as I suspected, she's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony, or the cross-examination will be over. But that would mean I would have to find a way. There must be some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in her armor. Kazuma? What, Rinosuke? There is one thing I noticed. Something that's been bothering me. Bothering you? You mean about Miss Brett? Actually, no. Yep, let's turn to Inspector Hosonaga. How about the person standing next to her, Inspector Hosonaga? The detective. Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant if it might present an opening maybe. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on the last statement one more time. If you think so, But this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out from the detective. Alright then. I wonder what Kazuma's thinking. I'll find out soon enough, I suppose, once I press respects on her last statement again. Yeah, so let me fill you in as to what I'm thinking right now, right? So let's check the let's check the sorry, not that. Let's check the court records, right? Okay. So if we
Yes.
oh no, sorry, I missed. Let me skip this.
Yes.
Okay. It's okay. Let's go to the last statement now. So maybe I can fill you in later. Okay, let's rest this.
Yes.
Okay. So let's check the court records. So let's check people. So as you can see, Miss Brett is an exchange student studying under the victim of Yume at Yume University's medical school, right? So again, Dr. Wilson being a doctor, and Mikotoba, right, is a professor in forensic medicine. There's something about um killing the person with an uh, untraceable, what do you call this, untraceable liquid or substance, right? I mean, being a medical student, you have some knowledge of something that can be taken orally, um that is untraceable. So there is something to it, right? We might want to hold on to it, but right now that's what I'm thinking. So that's why Miss Brett took the glass with her, because she might have used that glass to make Dr. Wilson drink that untraceable liquid or substance, right? So let's put a pin to that. But for now, let's go proceed to the statements, or to Inspector Hosanaga's remark or reaction to Miss Brett's statement. Okay, and it's the same thing.
Wait.
Okay, so there's the thing, right? Yes, there it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why? Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the Englishwoman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down. You're right. Look at him. He's lost in his own thoughts. If it's time to pursue the man for his train of thought. Sorry, pursue? I'll explain how to do it now, Rinosuke. So again, I think this is another game mechanic that we will be introduced to. It's all to do with the witness marker. What marker? At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who's the person actually making the current statement. Okay, we're moving to another person. But by moving the marker left and right with the left and right direction button, you can turn your attention to other people in the stand. While you're looking at the other witnesses, you'll be able to pursue them with A. If you can catch the person at just the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people on the stand, take a good look around. Alright then. So first I should move the marker across with the left or right direction pad and focus on the detective. Then pursue him with the A button and see what's on his mind. Exactly, which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. So let's go towards Inspector Hosanaga. Okay. So we have now two choices, either to pursue or to press. And actually, the pressing happens before the pursue. So let's pursue Inspector Hosanaga's train of thought next time. So for now, I'm ending this episode, right? So again, we wrap up the thing about the burn mark, and it presented us to a new set of direction that maybe Dr. Wilson didn't die when the gunshot was heard, but way before that, right? Even before the steak was served to the doctor. So we're now looking at a different perspective that the gunshot may not have been a sign or an indication that it is the time of the murder, or like the exact moment that Dr. Wilson died, but a distraction or a setup to frame Rinosuke. So for now, let's end it here. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time. Bye.